time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Spot Shooters Archery,
Easy Cut,
Packer Max,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Scent Lock,
Scent Blocker,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Buck Baits,
Gut Check,
Stanislavski Release Aids,
Copper John,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Sense Vapor Hunting Products,
and Rebel 6 Rubs. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal podcast, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin tonight with Dan DeFaw. I've been so busy, I didn't have time to make coffee tonight.
No, you didn't, but that doesn't stop anybody from going over and trying Hunter's Blend Coffee at huntersblend.com. huntersblendcoffee.com. On your checkout, use the promo code that Mike's pointing at, or if you're listening on the podcast, capital UNJ, and you can get
10% off
on your checkout. But that's not all.
But wait, folks, that's not all.
But wait, exactly right. You go over to Buck Baits. It's that time of year, folks. You got to get your orders in. The rut is going to start to heat up here soon.
And we're going to be talking about
this. And we are going to be talking about that. If you want 20% off your order, you get over there to buckbaits.com. On checkout, use Up North Journal, get 20% off on your checkout order. And then, after you've got your game on the table and you need to cook it up, you might want to go on over to Rebel 6 Rubs for 20% off again on your checkout. These are all great supporters of Up North Journal. Use the checkout code North Journal and you'll get 20% there. The last but not least, you got to call those deer. A nice grunt call would be awesome. JPO game calls, they're going to give you 10% of your order until November 15th. And if you use the code Up North Journal, you'll get 10% off.
So we got stuff to entice them, make them smell good.
Yep.
We got stuff to make them taste good.
Yep.
We got stuff that we can call them with.
Exactly. We got it all covered.
I like it.
Exactly. We got it all covered. The smorgasbord, it's ready to go. It's getting to be that season, but we need a report.
Well, you know, somebody did a report this week on Rebel 6.
Yeah, he did. And but you know, but first he also shared some pics of some bucks he's got on camera that don't look too bad at all.
Right? Hey, Ken, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys, how are you?
Doing good. Staying busy. Just got back from up north myself, but we wanted to check in. Last week, Danny and I, we kind of give our deer season update report, whatever you want to call it so far. You've been out. You've been active in the field. You've been doing some cool stuff. You got some pics to show us tonight. So we wanted to touch base with you and say, what's happening in southern Michigan? Because I got northern Michigan covered. He's got the UP covered. So you're our southern Michigan correspondent.
Yeah, boy, that's a lot of pressure because there's some good ones down here in southern Michigan. But yeah, you know, it's been an interesting month of October this year. You know, like you said, busy. I am hunting less this year than I ever have. I'm basically only getting one crack a week, and that's usually in the evening on Saturdays. Although I did hunt last Saturday morning, so I'm not hunting as much. But in the 5 or 6 hunts that I've had opportunities at does. One, the shot just never materialized. And the second one, I got busted as I was I ended up impromptu hunting from the ground one night. And sure enough, I had a doe at 15 yards. And I went to take my bow, the PSC decree off the tree branch, and it made the slightest little noise, and she pegged me. And she still almost gave me a shot after that, but it just never happened. You know, I've pretty much focused all my attention to this lease. This lease is really blowing my mind as far as the amount of deer that are on the property. It seems to be all the time. The quality of bucks that I'm getting on trail camera pictures this has all got me very excited, but I'm feeling lost. I feel like a lost puppy dog. You know, I've hunted primarily public land here in southern Michigan, some private stuff too, but again, heavy pressured private. And this is all new to me. I've never been on this kind of good property. Doesn't matter what time a day I go in there, I'm kicking out 8 to 10 deer. I mean, it's one of the things I'm struggling with. I can't access the property. Don't matter which way I access the property. Don't matter what time of day. I'm kicking deer out, and I'm lost, and I don't want to blow it. I feel like I've got this dream property. I may not have it next year, and I don't want to blow it.
Right.
You know what? You know what's going to happen is one of your sits is probably one of. I'm going to throw something out there that one of your long sits is going to be one of your best days, because you're going to get in there. You're going to have to blow them out, because it's obviously that you have no choice. But you got to give them a couple hours to come back once you're sitting wherever you are, whether you're in the tree saddle, you're on the ground. You got to give them time to come back, so that magical 10 to 2 hour might be actually a good one for you, because it'll give them time to circle around and come back. Speaking of that, have you been using the tree saddle?
Oh yeah. I've actually hunted from the ground a couple times, but I've done I've done 3 hunts from the tree saddle and 2 or 3 hunts from the ground. It's been about 50-50.
How do you like the tree saddle event?
Oh, I love the saddle. I've been doing it since last year. I like it a lot. I still will go back to tree stands once I find a good spot. I mean, I'm not going to, for an all-day sit, I think I'd want a tree stand, honestly. But as far as the 2 to 3 hour evening hunts, the 3-4 hour morning hunts, I love the saddle. And it's just a really neat way to hunt. I can't say enough good things about it. I love it.
That's awesome. It's good to hear it. I know, for me, I don't see it, but I might try it. But you said you tried it last year, and
I'd love to try it.
And then you said you'd love to try it. But I just want to get your report from it and see how.
Well, the main advantage, and it is an advantage. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of guys that aren't going to go to tree saddle. They're absolutely serial killer buck killers. And they don't hunt out of a saddle. It's not like some magic pill, but I like the fact that you can hide behind the tree. I like the fact that you can easily shoot 360 degrees around the tree. It is comfortable for 3 to 4 hours at a time.
Well, that's
I don't know. It's just kind of neat. I feel safe. It's very mobile. Like you're with it's not big and bulky. Like, even though some of the stands are lightweight, you can move around. You can hunt out of almost any tree. You can before it was tree stand, the tree has to be almost just right. With the saddle, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's it, right? If you're one that likes to play the wind a lot, and you're hunting over an intersection and the wind ain't right, all you gotta do is switch which tree you pick for the corn.
Right.
It gives you options right off the bat instead of.
I think that's the main thing. Is it's really the saddle is really for the mobile hunter, and that's who it's in mind for. Is the guy that hunts mobile, plays the wind a lot. That's who really benefits the most from the saddle style.
And my cousin that I have who hunts with the saddle, that's his plan. He's gonna go. Not necessarily scouting, but he's going to go on some jaunts, and he doesn't have to carry a tree stand with him.
Right.
But he'll carry the saddle with him, so he can just move along, and then when he gets comfortable, and he'll climb up in there. But that's awesome. So the doe busted you, and she was at 15 yards.
Yep, on the ground.
Yeah.
So
yep.
So far, you talked about when we first started the show that you're having problems getting in, you're busting deer, you're worried about that. Talk about that a little bit and what's going through your mindset on that, and how are you approaching getting onto the property and getting off the property, and what are some of the problems there?
Well, I think I made a mistake right off the bat. I got this lease in September, and I went in there and I found some deer runs in the timber, and I set up on those. When really what I should have did, my first couple sits there should have just been observation sits to see what in the world's going on there. And I didn't do that. And once the last time I hunted there on the ground when that doe busted me, I kind of got, and my brother-in-law who does the lease with me, he saw what was going on. He hunted a field edge. So we kind of know that they're moving west to east in the evening, and we're not sure what they're doing in the morning. I'm assuming they're coming back east to west. So we're kind of getting a picture together of what's going on out there. There are some railroad tracks that run alongside the property that I'm thinking about using for access, not walking on the tracks, but on the side of them, to access the property instead of blowing through all the fields in the morning. Mm-hmm. So I've got some ideas with access. I've been reaching out to a couple guys I know from social media that seem to kill a lot of big bucks and a lot of deer, and they're private land guys. This type of stuff is all new to me, and so I've been kind of talking to them, picking their brain, and I feel like I'm getting a plan together, which with what to do with the winds and how to access it on them tracks.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
we're running through these pictures. You sent me 4 pictures tonight. I'm just kind of like flipping through them. Talk a little bit about these bucks. Have you named them yet, or do you not do that?
I've never. I mean, in my head, I don't really name them. I always like, oh, that tall 8-point or that wide curly 10-point.
Right.
But yeah, I've never been one to name them. I just kind of know in my mind which ones I'm talking about.
Right.
But I haven't named any of them. I've maybe named a couple in the past, but I just, like I said, the tall curly 10, the tall 8, the wide 8, just stuff like that.
I tell you what, that curly 10 now, he's looking nice, and that tall 8, is
he's
nice.
super. Yeah, that 10 is cool because I actually have that 10-point on camera 4 different times. Once in September, and I got him 3 times in October. Only all within an hour or so after sundown.
Okay.
So I know he's not too far away. And the guy 2 properties north, I actually got to know, and he's got him on camera too. So he's around.
Okay. Oh, he's going to be a lot more around the next couple of weeks. That's for
Hopefully
sure.
he's around on your dinner plate.
Yeah.
Man, I hope so.
That's the thing. We're getting into the magical Halloween week here, and I know for a lot of people, it's going to start. The animals themselves are going to start, and things are going to start to happen. I think we've seen magic in the woods, right?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so we showed the 4 pictures there. You talked about different bucks you got on camera, some other smaller ones and everything. So, if given the opportunity, are you going to take the first buck that comes across you? Or are you going to be choosy? Are you holding out for one of these 4? What's your mindset there?
Well, I've never shot a buck with my bow, and I really, really want to do that. I need to get that monkey off my back.
Mm-hmm.
But I have committed. I've told myself, because I have shot some 1.5-year-olds with my gun, and I do not want to shoot a 1.5-year-old buck. A spike or a 4-point, I would say, is out of the question. If a nice 6-point, that's a really exceptionally nice 6-point that I think is older than a 1.5 years comes in, I'll shoot it. But I'm really trying to age it. I just don't want to shoot a 1.5-year-old. I don't know. I say that now, but if one gets my heart pumping and I get excited, I'll shoot it. But as far as right now, I can guarantee you I'm not shooting a spike. I'm not shooting a 4-point. I can say that for sure. And I'm not going to shoot some tiny little nubby 6-point or nothing like that. But I don't know. It's hard to say, man. It's like I go back and forth with it. I really want to shoot a buck with my bow so bad. But, things have changed. I'm not going to the Upper Peninsula for deer camp anymore. So I'm going to be doing gun season on this property, and I got all the time off that I still had. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, I got to remind myself of that because I have a feeling some things are going to happen during gun season there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So you're not going to go to the UP then?
No, I've had some circumstances
that's fine.
Come up, and I can't go this year. It was a very hard decision. But that it's final, and I'll be honest, getting those trail camera pictures made that decision just a little bit easier.
Right?
Always does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, in my mind, I'm thinking, I might not be able to lease this property next year. I'm hoping I will. We're going to offer some money,
right.
But this could be an opportunity of a lifetime. And boy, I'd hate to not. I mean, I just would hate not to be there and miss out.
Right.
I'm sure. I don't know what it's like come opening day there, but I get a feeling it might be like a little pumpkin patch.
Right. Well, I tell you what. Let's go ahead. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll talk a little bit more about what your expectations are and what you've been seeing so far and what you've done to get ready for the season. But I do want to say for those of you on the live stream before we go to break, I had your name banner up and I got you listed as bass fisherman. You're still a bass fisherman.
Yeah,
I guess I should probably change that to deer hunter. I don't know.
And before we go, we do have a poll out there.
Yes, I just posted that up there. The poll tonight is: are you seeing actively seeing scrape or rub activity yet? Yes or no? So make sure you go there and check on that. So, all right, we're going to step outside and we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows. From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible.
By basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show. Sitting here talking with Ken Sciculuna, bass fisherman, deer hunter, all the above. So I want to get that name right, the banner right. So we're just going to roll with that tonight.
So here you go. We set it up in the first segment. You got a new piece of property. You're getting busted all the time. You've been out a few times. The doe's busted you. You're thinking about different access points to get into this property. So the next time you'll go out, what you thinking? What you got planned? What's the go-to thing?
I've got a good wind on Saturday. I'm not going to work on Saturday, and I'm gonna use the railroad tracks for my morning hunt, and in the evening hunt, I actually went out yesterday during the rain when the rain really started, so I knew it'd wash everything away, and then I went out today in the middle of the day just to do a few more quick things. And I've got an access trail because I'm thinking I'm getting busted because the fields are all fallow fields where it hasn't been farmed in a few years. So it's knee to waist high, just natural growth with clover mixed in. And that's what they're grazing on. And so, after you get busted 3 or 4 times walking the field edges, you start to think, well, they're either bedding in them fields or not too far from them fields. So stop walking through the fields, dummy. So I found a nice little trail cuts through the timber where I don't think they're bedding. And I just wasn't expecting them to be bedding right in them fields like that, but they are. Them does are. And it's there's 2 or 3 monster doe group. I'm talking 7 to 10 deer at a time I'm seeing. And so I've got an access trail now to go to a couple of my stands where I don't have to go through any fields. And then I've got the railroad tracks. And like I said, I've been talking to a few guys that are been doing this a long time. They've kind of, they're the ones that they looked at the aerial and they're like, why aren't you using those railroad tracks? And I'm like, I don't know, And so I'm going to start doing that. So I feel like I finally have a good plan. Hopefully I didn't damage the property too much. And like I always tell everyone, I am not that good at deer hunting, and I just stopped using bait a couple of years ago. So I'm learning on the fly here, and I feel like I got a good plan. This place is absolutely loaded with deer, and there's still a lot of season left. So I'm very hopeful.
Well, getting out there and just by trial and error, that's the best education you can get.
I tell you what, you're right. And when I hunted in Port Huron, we were walking woods on the right, field on the left. We're walking, looking in the woods. Then you look out in the field, and they're staring at you.
Yep.
Yes.
That's when I learned right away. It's like, hold on, this game's a little different because it was the funniest thing. You got the heads and eyes looking at you, and they're just watching us walk. Mm-hmm. It's like, keep on walking, boys.
The one thing I will say about the railroad access: be very, very, very careful. Stay off of the railroad away. Because that is a huge, huge ticket. Make sure you stay on your property instead.
I am. I'm going to walk the ditch line next to. I keep saying I'm walking on the tracks. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to walk on the tracks. The property butts right up to it, and there's like a ditch that I could walk, and that actually is nice because it keeps me down low.
There you go.
And I already looked on Onyx, and the property line goes right to that ditch.
Okay.
So I'm good to go there. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to be walking on the tracks. I don't want no part of that.
Right.
And on our live Facebook feed, Ron Gerchow, he hasn't seen any bucks or scrapes or rub activity as of last week.
Okay.
And Kevin Black, he hasn't had any rubs or seen any bucks since August.
Kevin hunts
not even on Trailcam.
Okay, Kevin. Wow. I know Kevin hunts near me. I think like 3 or 4 miles as a crow flies, and I believe Ron Garchow, he hunts just south of me.
So you two guys want to watch the video that we're going to show here because this is in Mike's area, and you guys are in that area. I believe. So,
yeah, it's.
I mean, I counted about 10 scrapes today.
Did you? Okay.
See, they're popping up everywhere.
Okay, so with that being said, I know you do have some buck baits. Am I right?
Yep.
Yes, I do, and I actually I just started my first mock scrape today with some buck baits scrape enhancer. I figured it was a good time to do it right after a rain. I actually started one and got a camera on it, and we'll see what happens. I've never really tinkered with that stuff too much. I'm kind of new to the scent game when it comes to that. I've fooled around with it in the UP once. So we'll see what happens. I tried to do it as scent free as possible. Use the stick.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my rubber boots, tried to stay back from it a little bit, and got it started. And we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
Well, I've yet to really get a lot of information back from Indiana. We put 5 or 6 out there. First indications were we got a little bit of activity, just curiosity. And I've got 2 that I just put out up north at our Michigan property, and I put those out October 5th and 6th. So that's what the video is going to come from. So you just put yours out. Did you on your cameras? Did you put them on video mode or did you put them on picture mode? And why?
I put them on picture mode. I guess I'm just set in my ways. I should do video mode. I have it on all my cameras, but for some reason I'm like, well, I feel like this is the safer bet. Just put it on picture mode and just let it go. It's a weird hang up I have. I like getting those pics, but the videos are cool too. I should try it.
Okay, we'll talk about what I did and why I did it
exactly
in the next segment. So.
And speaking of hunters, Tim Cias had a young hunter kill a deer yesterday at the Outdoor Dream Foundation with velvet still on the antlers.
Wow!
Wow!
And over the course of the hunt, there was 5 bears killed and 2 deer.
Wow! Covered up in bear, man.
Right. So he's got so. Down there, velvet's still on the antler. That's something must
late.
be up with that deer.
Yeah, that's late.
Be interesting.
Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So you got the mock scrapes out. You're ready to go.
Yep.
You're looking at this Saturday, right?
Yeah, this Saturday I'm gonna morning hunt. I actually went out today and I set up my sticks and I've got my tether already tied up in the tree. So Saturday morning there's gonna be no fooling around. I can just walk up to it, climb up it, and I'm good and hook in, and I'm good to go. And I'm going to sit as long as I possibly can. The weather. I'm kind of a weather nerd when it comes to deer hunting. Everything is pointing to a great day of deer hunting on Saturday, and then of course I'm going to hunt Saturday evening too.
Okay, so you said you get out in the evenings. Are you playing these weather fronts? Are you trying to get in as these cold fronts are starting to move in?
I would no, because I'm working so much and I'm so tied up during the week, and I've been working on Saturday mornings that Saturday night is the only night I've been able to hunt. Sundays I usually devote to family and church on Sunday, and so Saturday night's my only night. And I do play the wind. Like I will definitely set up my best of my ability according to the wind. But whatever the weather is Saturday night, I'm hunting somewhere.
That's right. You know,
somewhere nice.
You know, you can't get them from the couch, so you might as well be out there. And that's the one thing you got to be out there. You got to take the opportunities. And like you said, you're not hunting as much this year, so all the valuable opportunities.
Well, you got to take advantage of what you can when you can. You know, I mean, it's just the way it is.
And I've got 8 days off for gun season, so I am really, and I've got the day off before I've got the 14th off, so I'm going to bow hunt that day too.
Okay. All right. I got a message here from Tim about this buck, and he just sent me a picture of it. First off, this deer, it looks a little odd. I mean, it's just different, but it's cool looking. But he said that the deer had no testicles, and I mean, hey, we'll just say it like it is here. That's probably a great indication as to why it was still in velvet.
Right.
Wouldn't you think?
Absolutely.
I mean, I got to believe that's why. So
yeah, it definitely it plays a part in it, and you know that's the thing. But it's going to make a cool mount.
It is going to make a cool mount. There ain't no doubt about it, man.
I'm going to lie, that is going to be awesome.
I mean, that is a cool looking deer. I wish I could put it up online here right now, but I can't. So.
Right. So you just well, if the weather sticks out, we should have hopefully a positive report sometime Saturday.
I hope so, from either Ken or myself. I'm heading down south.
You're going down south.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
I'm going to head down there and put in a week. Hopefully it only takes a day or two. That'd be nice. But
right?
I know how this game works. You plan all year and you think it's going to happen quick, and you got the best of ideas and intentions, and sometimes you eat tag soup. So hey, it is what it is. So
right, but I tell you what, tell me it doesn't make it fun. Ken's got these pics in his head of these deer that are roaming his property. You've got pics of deer. I got pics of all these pics of these deer that we got running on the we're kind of looking after and wanting, and it's like it's hunting.
It gets you pumped up for hunting season for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
So, as October's kind of went on here, we got just a few more minutes for a break. But have you? As you go out more, are you seeing increased deer activity on the property as the season progresses?
Yes, and it's been kind of cool to watch that each Saturday that I've been out there. Like for the past 2 weeks, it's like last Saturday, it was like, all right, there's some scrapes starting to show up. And then I went out there yesterday during all that rain, and man, there were scrapes everywhere. I mean, it was on every field edge. There was 3 to 5 scrapes, all being used. And then today, I was exploring some new areas. I found some new ones. The rubs are increasing, and it's kind of cool. I found some really nice rubs, some abdomen to chest high rubs, and so I knew it was a good buck. But then I started looking around, and I could see a bunch of old rubs from last year and maybe years past. So I found an area where it's like this buck or bucks like to rub this area year in and year out. So that kind of got me going, and I couldn't help but picture in one of them big boys doing it. And I'm definitely, without a doubt, I'm seeing more activity, big time.
That's good. That's that was the thing. I seen some fresh rubs on our property up north as well. And when you start seeing those signposts, it definitely gets the blood kicking in. But that's cool that you're seeing what we call generational rubs, where there's rubs from the past and they're back in there again in the same area. So, generally they equate that to the same buck.
This property, I feel so blessed that it's truly exceptional. I really didn't realize what I had on my hands here until the past couple weeks, and it's North Ann Arbor farmland. It's loaded. It's really a special thing, and I can't believe that I'm hunting it. And I mean, it's like I start to panic because it's like, man, what if I blank out here on this property?
Well,
and,
if you do,
but
you
I
do,
know
man.
it's hunting, and it could happen, but that still is in the back of my mind all the time, and I'm constantly fighting that. But it's just really special what I'm seeing. I've never been able to be able to see stuff like this ever in 17 years of hunting. So it's pretty neat.
So okay, so you got it down. It sounds like you're ready. You're ready to take something. You did a video.
Yeah.
You did a video this week of Rebel 6 rubs. What's your initial thought of their product that we got you some to use?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I am really impressed with those rubs. You know what I mean? And I like to cook. Okay, I've always liked to cook.
Not gonna lie.
I really do. I've always enjoyed it. Not every guy likes to cook. I understand that. I feel like maybe a chef could have been a calling of mine. But I do enjoy to cook, and I've tasted a lot of seasonings, and I understand, hey, seasoning, most of it's all pretty good. Okay, I get that. But he has really put together a great tasting seasoning. Exactly the 3 rubs I've tasted so far does complement. The spicy whitetail does complement great with the whitetail and beef, and the mild wild game poultry rub, bird rub, mild bird rub really complements poultry well. I've just used it on chicken. I'm not a bird hunter. But I can just tell, like, there was definitely I can tell he put a lot of time into creating those spices because it's just so good. I mean, the flavor is there, and it's just right. It's not too much, too little, because I've had seasonings where it's overpowering. It's especially with the heat, because I like spicy, and he's just really put it together really well. I can't wait to try the bear rub and the stuff for pork. That's next on the list. Although I don't have any bear meat. My bear I shot 2 years ago, but I'm going to find something to use that on. I love it, though. I think he's hit a home run with everything I've tried so far.
There you go. So we'll expect when you score, and we'll expect another report with the 2 you used, and so that's awesome. So
yeah, I'm trying to think what I could use the bear rub for. But
if you know what, I can ask him and he'll tell us.
We'll come up with
yeah.
something.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. So,
and that dragon dust, man, this is going to sound ridiculous, and my wife thinks I'm ridiculous for the dragon dust. I'll lick that stuff off the back of my hand. It's so good. I don't even like.
I know what you're talking about,
but it's so good. I'll sit there and lick it right off the back of my hand.
It is awesome. I mean, I told it everybody I talked to, I was like, man, that's my go-to.
Yeah.
I love putting it on popcorn. I put some in chili the other night to give it a little kick, and I tell you what, man, it's awesome. So,
All
right.
I tell you what, why don't we step outside, take our next break, and come back? We'll continue the conversation. I'll give you a little bit of report on what I've been seeing up at our camp. So we're gonna step outside. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Welcome back, third segment of the show. We're talking deer hunting tonight. We're talking buck baits, we're talking scents, we're talking scrapes, we're talking rubs, we're talking spicy rubs that you put on the meat after you get the deer.
Right, exactly.
We're talking all things deer hunting.
It's the buildup. It's the buildup. When I was up in Labor Day, I put out some mock scrapes. I went back. I pulled my cameras. I had a little bit of interest from some small bucks that showed promise. I don't know what I'll get this time around, but you went out there and you set up a couple on some edge of fields, and you used the scrape enhancer.
Yeah, as I knock everything over here, the deer musk scrape enhancer from Buck Baits.
Right, exactly.
So
and,
this is what I've been using, and I put, we put, like I said, 6 of them out down in Indiana. Did 2 at our place up here in Michigan. So did the setup a little bit different up here than what we did down there. Remember down there we were putting a little enhancement with the earth scent.
Yes.
Letting that dry and then putting on this. I just put this
right in the dirt.
The scrape enhancer in there. Yep, made the scrapes. On the first camera I set up, which I'm going to go ahead and pop the video here, is this camera here I put way too close to the scrape. You can see the deer. I know where the scrape's at, but what got me was the fact of the amount of bucks that I saw here on this camera on the property. It just blew me away. And setting this up a little bit, we've started some deer management on the property. We've been going through this for a couple of years now, and we've also had turnover in our membership. We've talked about, heard me talk about we're looking for new members at the place. But the biggest change we've made is the driving on the property. We've stopped all the driving, and that has made a huge impact. Now, those of us that are there,
deer drives?
No, driving vehicles on the property, driving through the property to your stand.
Okay.
The amount of traffic, it's different philosophies in hunting.
Because they don't have, theirs is not a square.
It's like an L shape.
It's an L shape, and the road goes
through the middle of the property.
Through the middle of the property. So what they did was, one of the new rules is you're not allowed to drive. So these videos now that people are seeing are coming in. This was early October.
I put this scrape out on the 5th of October. It rained hard that night. I went back on the 6th, and I freshened them up. And this is what the video is showing now from the 6th on to I think the 10th. So one photo or one piece of video in here, I had 6 different bucks. We've got 2 shooters on this field here at different times, and there's a third one there, maybe not. But the fact is we're starting to see 1.5-year-old 8 points that have some tremendous potential. We're seeing 2.5-year-old 8 points that have really on their way, that's given another year or two are going to be tremendous. And then we've got one here that's 3.5, 4.5 years old, wide, and it's incredible. It's incredible what we're starting to see and how relaxed the deer are. But we put these scrapes out, and just to see if we can get a little bit of early activity on these things, and they're hitting them. And there's just no doubt about it. But this camera here, I had less activity on this scrape, and I'm not really sure why. It may be a scent issue for me. I may have left scent on it in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. But they were using it. It wasn't being hit nowhere near as much as the other one that I did. So, but
yeah,
it's
Ken, these videos that you can't see, but you'll have to go back and look at them. But it's just amazing. Yeah. The one deer comes right in. Mike's got it on the one camera. It's a little high, so he ducks out. But then when he comes back up, he's almost doing a lip curl. Like it's awesome. It's kind of cool.
It's it's just seeing deer activity that this is the reason I put it on video. And I set my cameras on 1 minute to run 1 minute because 10 seconds really doesn't give you enough of a profile to see what's going on a scrape, to see the activity, see the interaction between deer. That's why I set it to a minute. Now, I only got 64 clips of video on this before it actually quit running because the card was full. That is one thing. I was using a 16 gig card, and yeah, you limit yourself that way, but it gives you a great insight into what's actually going on the property and what in front of that camera. You can see interaction between deer, how they're interacting. It's, to me, you get to look at the profile of the antlers. You get to see them straight on, depending on how they're turning their heads versus a picture. And that's why I switched over to start doing this, at least on these two cameras. There's the lip curl right there, Danny, you were talking about.
Oh, there it is.
So for those of you that are on the podcast listening, go to our live stream, which you'll put up on Wednesday on YouTube, or check us out here on Facebook. Go back and watch this because it's like I said, it blew my mind.
And plus, too, you can. I like the idea of video, is you can kind of tell with pictures, but you can get a good idea of where they came from and where they went after they walked away. You know, you kind of get an idea where they're coming from, where they're going.
The other thing that I noticed is in the background. There was times when I seen deer in the background. You can't really tell, is that a buck, is that a doe? And all of a sudden you see the head come up and you see the headgear. And I'm talking, 150, 200 yards away. And when you see headgear at that distance on a camera and you can tell it's a buck, you know it's a good buck.
Yep.
And Kevin Black is, you said he hunts around you?
Yeah, he's probably less than 5 miles as a crow flies.
He thinks he's got that wide 8 on the trail camera. He'll send you a pic of it.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
And then Mike, country boy, I'm going to blow up this last name, Kokas, loves hunting in Arbor. The deer are more relaxed with the noise. And are some shooters out there hunting the north side of Ann Arbor, it sounds like.
So am I.
Okay, so now I'm going to switch over. Now, if you remember on last week's show, this is the buck here. I got a picture because I took this off a screenshot off of my camera because I was rolling video right before I shot at him. And I've nicknamed him the Matrix.
Yes, this is your Matrix deer.
Yes. So now, this isn't on the same field, but I do believe I've got him.
On this camera.
Yep.
That's him.
That's him right there. And he's working the scrape. Now, this scrape here has been hot. It's been active. I'm seeing does in it. I'm seeing little deer in it. I'm seeing buck activity. Bucks are sparring. Bucks are fighting, pushing each other around, and what we're calling the Matrix. I mean, you can see here in the video, he's a hoss. He ain't got the long time length, but he's definitely
got some width.
He's got the width and the height, on the main beam. And he's a big-bodied deer. But he commands the presence when he hits the field. And this is what we put the buck baits mock scrape enhancer in, or the deer musk scrape enhancer from buck baits. That's what I was using in this.
Yep.
And in 3-4 days' time, I had 142 video clips.
Wow.
A little busy. And then also in this video clip, you see in the background, there's 2 other bucks.
They're back there pushing
each other around.
Yep. These are same two.
How much of that enhancer did you put on there? I pump sprayed the area I tore up. Like, I made sure I covered everything. I sprayed some of the leaves around it. How much did you use?
I did 5 specific spots about the size of maybe a $50 silver dollar, and I'd put 5 pumps in each spot.
Okay.
And I'd do 5 spots. So I guess 25 pumps, I guess, is what you're how you would guess.
Okay. All right.
I didn't try to saturate, but you got to remember these sprayers atomize it, and you're not really putting a ton out.
So. No, you're not.
Yeah, that was one thing I did. Obviously I've never used this stuff before, but just a couple of initial impressions about those products that I liked is I really liked the pump spray on there.
Uh-huh.
I had good control, and I did like that about that.
I've used maybe a third of a bottle, and I've hit both these scrapes twice, and I treated them, both of them exactly the same. So that gives you an indication on how far it'll actually go. So
yeah.
But here comes what I call the Matrix. Here he comes. He's coming back up to push this other buck off of this scrape. He's commanding the field once again. And it's just...
And this is great video
body
because
posture.
You see the body posture in this bigger deer, older deer than the other two. And he's exactly what you're saying. He's commanding the field and saying, "Hey, excuse me."
Yeah, you're in my spot.
Right?
Is this daytime?
Yep.
This
nighttime?
is both. But right now we're looking at daytime video. So
What time of day?
it is 7:11 p.m.
Okay.
Just before dark.
Okay.
Just before dark.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's on the edge of a field. It's on the edge of a food plot, and
Okay.
I got overhanging oak tree. So that's what the licking branch is. Now you see right here, he's simply manhandling him. He's pushing him right off the edge of the field and off the scrape. You know, he's like, look, kid, this is my spot. You need to leave before I really tangle with you.
So hopefully, Ken, you'll be getting some of this video on or pictures, as you use the pictures. You'll get some pictures, and maybe you're going to get some action like this through pictures because it's going to be kind of good.
I put it on a field edge about 100 yards down from an active natural scrape that I set up my saddle. I'm hunting over a scrape that's getting hit pretty hard on a field edge, and then I started a mock scrape about 100 yards down. So I can't wait to get out there.
Now the one thing on this picture you can see at the very top of the frame is the oak branch. It's a little too high, but it's really the only spot on this field where I could put a scrape. And this buck comes in, he's digging it up pretty good. So I did get video of one getting in there and really working it. But I thought they would get on their hind legs and work that licking branch, but I think it's just too high. I think it's simply too high.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I was going to ask you about that. I was like, "Where's the licking?" But you said it's out of the camera frame. Is that
it's just in the edge of it, depending on you can see it right here in this night video.
Oh, okay, all right.
But
I want to try that. I want to try the vine trick with my next mock scrape.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen it, and I've seen it work. Yeah, I know a guy that's used that down in southern Michigan.
I want to try that.
We were at a wildlife cooperative coordinator put it together for us, a workshop for co-ops, and we went down to a co-op, and this gentleman took us across his property. It was middle of the summer, and showed us how he was utilizing the vines. And you could tell where they've been using it. It worked really well for him.
Yeah.
But this video is just it really blew my mind to think this time of year we're seeing bucks starting to. I think this is more than sparring. This is starting to get into a territorial situation where they're starting to push each other around a little bit. They're not true fighting, but it's like it's battling for dominance.
Well, what you're running into is you've got a lot of bucks that are close. Mm-hmm. You don't have the they have to set precedence of what's going on.
Exactly. Yep. But so if you get a chance, you might want to try putting a little bit of video on, and
I think
just see
I'm
what
gonna.
you get. I'm one of them maybe.
I've got 2 cameras I don't even have out right now, so which I'm going to be putting out real soon. So
I guess the thing that I would say is try to maybe use a 32 gig card. I was using 16.
Use a big card,
I was using.
Yeah, okay.
I think. Well, I had a 32 and a 16. The 32, I got obviously twice as many videos. So, but yeah, it definitely changed the way I look at the property. It shows me that the things that we're doing right now is working because I've got video clips on both fields that show 6 different bucks at one time, and you'd see 3 sometimes. On a rare occasion, you might see 4, but to see 6 and then to have other deer in the field that they're far away that you can't tell what they are with that potential, to me is simply incredible. It's made hunting very like when I went. I hadn't seen this video when I went up this last weekend. And I was going up. I was like, okay, well, I had that shot at the Matrix. Okay, so am I going to see him? Am I going to see any bucks? And actually, I didn't see a buck at all this weekend, and I was really disappointed. But when I came home and I looked at the video, or I seen these clips, I'm like, well, they're there. It's just they weren't there this weekend out cruising. The thing that I noticed was the does that came into the food plots were very, very skittish and apprehensive. And I found out why. But I tell you what, we'll talk about that in the next segment. So we're bumping up on our next break here. Let's take our last break. We come back. I'll tell you about another encounter that I had, actually 2 encounters this weekend. So we'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at pscarchery.com.
Back to the last segment of the show, everybody. Sitting here on a Sunday night, October, what is it, 27th?
It is
Yep.
October 27th.
Halloween's coming up.
Halloween is Thursday.
Man, how many times do we see and hear of deer getting killed around Halloween?
All the time.
Yeah.
Halloween buck.
This is the week. This is the week to start getting out. You're going to get heavy pre-rut. Start some chasing here real quick. What we just saw from just the video I had, that was from the 6th to about the 12th of October. Can't imagine what I've missed because my cards were full.
Right.
It's a good problem to have, I guess.
But all here is said and done. It's good that you're going to make it to that.
Yeah.
Because you almost became prime grade A on the menu again.
Yeah, I had another close call. Last year you brought this up about because you said 3 encounters, and it made me think. You said no. You're talking about last year when I got surrounded by 4 packs of coyotes on the property. So, kind of taking a little quick step back. I got there Friday afternoon, shot my bow. Thing was on, so I got. That's a question for you. How often do you shoot your bow before you? Do you shoot your bow before you go out, Ken?
Almost always.
Okay.
I almost always shoot before I go out, or if I'm morning hunting, I shoot the night before. Yep.
Okay. I just wonder because I do the same thing. I got a bag up. I carry up. I have up north.
I shoot the whole season through.
Okay, good. Because that
Yep.
it just builds confidence, number one, but it also makes sure that something hasn't been bumped on your sight. So
Yep.
I shot, got everything ready, and I took off to a ground blind in a spot that I haven't hunted before, but I knew where it was at. And that's the other thing about the way we're working our property now is it's no longer an area that you hunt that's just one area, it's yours, and somebody else got another spot. We got the whole place that we all now have access to. It's changing that mindset and working together, sharing information. So I've never, like I said, never hunted this area before. Went up there, had a ground blind, got in it, got set down, and I got in really early. So I'm sitting there just kind of chilling out. Beautiful day, sunny. Thinking, probably not going to see a whole lot. And I did. I only seen 4 deer, but I watched 2 young does come in the field for an hour and feed through. And then as they left, 2 more came in, and the biggest one, I thought, do I shoot? Do I not shoot? I don't know. Do I want to shoot her? And I'm like, no, you're here to just check this area out. Don't disturb it. If you see a buck that's a shooter buck, then shoot it. Just take it in. Well, she actually got within 5 yards of the blind. I was sitting next to a white pine tree, and all of a sudden I see his head stick out right beside the pine tree. I'm like, oh, okay, that's where you went. And she almost jumped in the blind, but she laid down the field off to my left, about 15 yards away, chewing her cud. And I'm like, really?
Hey, you said you weren't going to shoot me.
Yeah, and I'm like, come on, man. And it's getting that last hour. And I'm like, you're not just going to lay there, and I'm going to have to bust you to get out of here. I don't like busting deer to get out of a stand. Finally, she did get up and leave, but yeah, she just sat there and chewed her cud and got up and finally walked off. So evening comes to an end. I'm walking out down a little 2-track, and it cuts to a big feral field that used to be a huge food plot. Grass in that field is chest high. And I see something bounding through the field at about 40 yards. And I'm like, I wonder if that's a deer. So just enough light, I threw my binoculars up, and I just see the head coming up. And I'm like, is that a deer? And I'm like, oh, no, it's not, because at about 60 yards, it finally popped out on a 2-track, and it's a coyote, about the size of a German Shepherd. And we locked eyes for about 10 to 15 seconds. That thing stood there and stared me down, and I'm staring it down. And I've got my bow, and I got an arrow already knocked, and I got my release. I'm like, okay, just come on. If you want to come over here, we'll play. And it just took off. It ran off. So, okay, whatever. So, I made my way back to the camp. Next morning, it was cold. I mean, it was 25 degrees.
Yeah, it was cold. You didn't have the right clothes, did you?
I did not have I didn't have my heavy, like, rifle season clothes with me. So I stayed tucked in bed. I was like, I ain't going out. It didn't get above freezing until after 10 o'clock in the morning. I would have froze. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going to sit in a tree stand because it's just going to be miserable. And I'm just not that much of a morning person. So long story short.
I can appreciate that.
Well, it's just, I'll hunt the mornings, and I enjoy them. But, when it's cold, I'm just not gonna sit there and push myself through it unless it's rifle season and I'm expecting it and I got the right clothes.
Yep.
So anyway, long story short, we get to the evening hunt and I go hunt the field where the matrix was. And it's one of them things. It's like, okay, do I hunt there? Do I hunt the swale where I put a new stand up last year because I seen trails cutting across the 2-track leading right to it. There was 2 of them and they were hot. I mean, it looked like a cattle path going through there. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. No, I'm going to go where the matrix was. So I made my way down, got in the stand, actually rode the bike down. I'm telling you guys, if you're not using e-bikes, you got to get one, man, if you can afford them, because I tell you what, it's made a difference in the way I hunt. Long story short, I get off, park the bike, get in the stand, and I sat there, man, probably 3 hours before I saw my first deer. And now I saw 10 deer this evening. They were all does. But right before dark, at about 6 o'clock, I had 2 does enter the field. And the older matriarch doe, she saw that there was something in the tree stand, but she couldn't make out what I was. She couldn't win me. She tried to win me, couldn't win me. She kept staring. She'd walk around in circles, looking. She got within about 10 yards of me. And she finally just like, okay, he ain't going to shoot me, so I guess I'm going to feed. She turned her back to me and started feeding. The little doe that was off to the side from her, probably 30, 40 yards away, they were doing their thing, and all of a sudden it gets to about 6:45, hunting lights done at 6, or no, I take that back, it's about 6:40. Last shooting light was 7 o'clock, and I'm thinking, okay, they're going to stay here till dark. I'm going to have to force these guys out. By the time I'm thinking that, I hear the coyotes cut loose, pack of them. Or actually, first it was one solo cut loose. And the deers pick their heads up, and they're looking, and kind of look at each other like, yeah, I know what that is. They go back to feeding. About 30 seconds later, the pack lights up. And the whole pack lit up. That little one picked her head up and looked at the mama doe and ran over to her. I'm like, okay, she knows what this is.
Yeah,
she knows the game. And she stayed close to her, and after about 30 seconds, she was like, come on, Mom, let's go. And she took off to the edge of the field. She started running across the field. And then the mama doe kind of fed behind her a little bit eventually. And they caught up to each other at the edge of the field. And I watched them walk off the edge. I'm like, well, by now it's like 10-7, 5-7. I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and get down, get my stuff together. Meanwhile, I hear crunch, crunch, crunch behind me. I'm like, uh-oh, this is a buck coming in. I get ready. This is right before I'm getting ready to get down. And I turn and look. It's a big old fat porcupine. He gets within about 10 feet of my stand, looks up at me, and I start lowering stuff down. He stays until I start to come down. Then he took off. So I get on the ground, and I'm about 100 yards from my bike. And between me and the bike is a dip in the field, okay? And when you hit that dip, your head level is just above ground level, okay? So as I'm starting to come up that rise in the 2-track, about 40, 50 yards ahead of me, I see bounding. And I'm like, what in the world? And all of a sudden, I see it. It was a coyote on the 2-track. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I had an arrow in my hand. I had just taken it off the bow, and I had the bow in the other hand. And this thing stands there and sizes me up. And I'm like, okay, going to play? So I knocked the arrow, and when it hit the string, you hear the ping.
Yep.
It picked its head up even more and looked at me and started running at me. My release is in my pocket. So I'm fumbling, trying to get in my pocket to get my release out. Here comes this coyote at me, and he gets to about 20 yards of me, and then he just freezes and puts the brakes on. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to have to just jam my bow at this thing, And when he stopped, we looked at each other, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 seconds. And then he turned, he finally like, wait a minute, that's a human. That's not a deer.
You're bigger than I thought.
Yeah, you're bigger than I thought you were. And he turned and ran in the swamp. But you want to talk about making the hair on the back of your neck stand up when you get a coyote charging you? I mean, and it wasn't like he was walking. He came at me on a run.
You almost was. you were a main course, buddy.
Big old fat boy here fumbling in his pocket trying to get a release out, But yeah, so it was interesting.
Yeah. I can imagine that because Ken's got a fear of mountain lions jumping on him in the UP.
Well, I do, and I do, and that's always spooked me. And I've been stalked by a pack of wolves up there too, and that was quite a hair-raising experience. I get what you're saying.
Well, when
that
things can
scary.
eat you, yeah, I mean, it puts a whole different mindset, And I didn't have my my carry pistol with me, because legally, if you've got a permit, you can carry while you're bow hunting in the state of Michigan and a lot of other states. Well, ding dong me left it back at camp.
Well, that's the thing,
because I could have shot it.
Right, you could have, but with mountain lions, you won't even know they're there.
Oh no,
it's
they'll
too
just
late.
be on you. Yeah,
yeah. So don't worry about the mountain lions. I'd worry about the wolves. Yeah, because you can hear those coyotes for sure.
Yeah,
because when they start moving around, you can hear them. But mountain lions, nah, you're toast. No doubt about it.
It was a cool experience having that thing come in that quick on. I mean, I wasn't like, oh no, what do I do? I was like, it's like, hey, you come up to me, I'll take the arrow and the bow and I'll jam you with it, whatever I got to do.
Go ninja.
Right, but and afterwards I'm thinking as I'm getting on the bike, I'm like, that was pretty cool. But when I was fumbling for my release, I wasn't thinking it was cool. It's just one of those things. But
I walked up.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I walked up on a coyote one time, and it ran away from me, but then it stopped, and it barked at me, like barking like a dog at me for like 10, 15 minutes, and I'm like, this thing doing?
Calling his buddies.
That's what I was thinking. Like, is that what he's called? Is that like a call to arms or what?
Right. Well, the thing that got me is I'm like, man, if I'd only waited another 3 or 4 minutes to get down, I would have had a shot at him, because the way he was coming, he had ran right under the tree that I was in. I mean, I was probably not even 50 yards away from my tree stand. Like I said, I was about halfway between me, the tree stand, and the bike, and it could have gotten real fun there if I had just waited. But you never know. You just don't know what's going to happen. When you're ready to get down, you get down.
That's right. It is what it is, and it's. But you got to be out there to experience all this stuff.
It is. And I think about, on the way up, I was thinking, Danny, you and I have talked about this so much lately, and I know, Ken, you've heard us talk about it, about, you never know when your last hunt is, and I was driving up Friday afternoon. The sun was out at that point in time when I got north. The leaves were just ablaze. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. When you get up north and you just see all the colors popping, in peak and the peak fall colors. And I'm driving down through this road, and the canopy is covering, and it's just like it's on fire.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I turned 54 last week. I was born in the middle of fall, so this is my 55th fall that I've got to see. How many more times do you get to see that? You never know. And how many people don't get out and enjoy the outdoors?
And it just goes to show you, your birthday was Wednesday. I was quiet about it because I didn't want to.
I don't say anything about it.
Didn't want to upset the old guy. You got to watch because they get a little irate sometimes when you talk about their birthday.
You're not that far behind me,
but but to celebrate, you and I after the show are going to have some.
Are you kidding me?
Are going to have some cupcakes.
I did not see that coming. Yeah, nice. So we're gonna do cupcakes, huh? So I have to work out extra at the gym this week.
That's right.
Gee, thanks.
So happy birthday!
Well, I should have been in studio tonight.
Oh, you can have my half.
No, he's gonna eat the whole thing because I tell you what, it was funny. And then to hear these stories, like, man, he almost made it a couple days past.
Yeah.
But
you don't ever know, and I got to thinking as I'm driving, and I took pictures while I'm driving, with my phone and everything. But I was like, how many people miss this? How many people miss the experience of getting out and seeing bucks do their thing? How many people miss the experience of seeing a porcupine, come up close to a tree stand or get close? I mean, hairy eyeball to hairy eyeball with a coyote. Not once but twice.
And just think, Ken, you're just starting out this with your little one. You know, and so you've got all this to look forward to, and that's going to be so awesome each step of the way.
Yeah, sharing the outdoors.
Sharing it, and it's I can really relate because I think about that. I don't so much think about. I'm not to the point where I'm like, what is this? So I should think that, but it could be my last hunt. You can die at any time. But I've thought about, and I've told people about this. I have seen so much cool stuff hunting, from turkey hunting or deer hunting or small game hunting or even on the water. As outdoorsmen, we see things that nobody else really gets to see.
Absolutely.
You don't get to see a 3-legged coyote come into your turkey call. You don't have an owl swooping down on your hat because it's made of rabbit fur. I mean, or all these little type of things that I've experienced, and everyone, all of us that spend time in the woods, the general population that doesn't do this stuff, they just don't get it, and they'll never be able to experience it. And some of them don't care, and they like it that way. But I have a feeling I tell some of these stories to people, and they almost don't believe me when I tell them this stuff.
Oh, we've had people tell us that we're lying. I mean, on different stories of things. You know, you see a flight of trumpeter swans come over while you're sitting in a tree stand, you know, and they're honking and getting ready to hit the water at a morning, and the steam's coming off the lake. You know, it's just you can't describe in words what we see. Even a picture really doesn't tell it. You have to experience it.
You really do.
You know, you tell them that you're sitting there in a tree and you have a bird land on your arrow. You know, no, you didn't get that close.
Yeah,
I'm like, look, the squirrels come right there, and I've had that owl come up into the tree right next to me and sit on the branch, looking at me, going, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
and then then I start thinking, man, you could have clawed my eyeballs out, right?
Just the other day, you know, a couple weeks ago, for when I first hunted the lease, and this has happened to all of us a lot of times at deer hunt. But I just, for whatever reason, I thought I had that doe was right underneath my tree, and for whatever reason, the next day I said, man, how cool was that? I had a wild white-tailed deer right underneath me, you know? To me, that I just take that stuff for granted sometimes. Like,
right.
It was right there underneath me, that close to a wild, and he didn't know I was there.
You know what?
Just little things like that.
This is what I try to do when I've got them and they're directly under me. I'll lean over and I'll drop a spit wad on them. It's like I'm gonna mark them. You know, so the other deer come up and go, "What human have you been hanging out with?" You know. It's one of the little things I like to do when I'm out in the woods. You know? It sounds stupid, but you know, when you're that close, that you can drop a spit
have a little
ball
fun
on them. Yeah, it's just fun. You know.
Yep,
that's right. And you got, like you said, you're just starting out with your little one. You've got a lot to show.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I hope I do get to get a deer, because I really want to get a deer this year. I want him to be around a deer. Hey, look what Daddy got. I want to drive him to the butcher with me to drop the deer off and see the and even at a young age, I really want that so bad. You know.
Yeah, they need to know where their food comes from. You know.
Sure.
Really. You know, there's something primal about that.
Started teaching them that. Yeah.
Kevin Black says he had a barred owl land in his tree stand 2 different times this weekend. One at night and one in the morning. 2 different trees.
That's cool. Awesome. Yeah.
I watched a hawk tear a squirrel apart this year. Early, my first morning set.
That's awesome.
I was like, that is so cool, but that is cruel.
Did it do the squeal? Did the
squirrel
do the squeal?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then all the other squirrels around the area just went crazy.
Yeah, I bet.
So, but it's just cool stuff like that. But
and we got more to come, and hopefully we'll have a lot better reports here as we go forward, going into the prime time of the hunting season for us.
Up North Journal needs to get on the board.
That's right.
We need to get on the board and get one on the ground.
I want to shoot a doe so bad.
All right, guys and gals, right here. Get over to Buck Baits. Get some of this scrape enhancer. Get your scrapes out before it's too late. You know, they got the Estrus Max. We got regular doe urine, doe and heat.
And they've got it in synthetic.
So get that stuff out there. This is ATA approved, so it's legal to use in Michigan. I'm telling you, you just saw the videos. The proof's in the pudding. So I had a blast up north for the 2 days I was there, and I can't wait to get down to Indiana this week.
And you can't wait to get to Indiana. Ken can't wait to get out this weekend.
When you going back up?
Well, it'll be a week from Saturday. I'll be heading up.
Okay. That's the thing. Before we wrap up here, for those of you on the podcast and on the live stream, are we doing a show? We're not doing a show next week, and we're gonna
run one next week.
We're gonna run one next week. We're not sure which one we're gonna do yet. We've got one in the can. We're talking about actually recording another one on Wednesday, possibly. So stay tuned for that, and then we'll be back again live the following weekend. You're going to be up north.
Yeah, I'll call in from up north.
You'll call in. I'll be coming back from Indiana. And the only reason we won't do one is if for some reason I can't get back.
Yep.
So other than that, we'll be ready to roll. And Ken, good luck to you, man. Get out there in that tree saddle and put an arrow in something, man.
I'm going to try. Thank you.
All right. I tell you what, that'll do it for the podcast portion. For the live stream, we'll hang on for just a few minutes. But y'all take care, and we'll see y'all again here real soon.
And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by
PSE Archery,
Spot Shooters Archery,
Easy Cut,
Packer Max,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Scent Lock,
Scent Blocker,
Lim Walker Game Calls,
Buck Baits,
Gut Check,
Stanislawski Release Aids,
Copper John,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Sense Vapor Hunting Products,
and Rebel 6 Rubs.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.